The triple jump is often one of the more forgotten events when it comes to track and field for various different reasons, despite it, in my opinion, being one of the most competitive events in the sport. Now, coming off 2024, on the women's side, we saw Thea Lafond of Dominica win the gold medal at both the Olympic Games in Paris as well as the World Indoor Championships in Glasgow, Scotland. And on both occasions, she set a personal best, jumping 15 meters both times. Now, though Yulimar Rojas, arguably the greatest triple jumper of all time on the women's side, she was sidelined all throughout 2024, that didn't take away from the depth of competitions, as Thea was joined by the likes of Shanieka Ricketts from Jamaica as well as Jasmine Moore from the United States on that Olympic podium. You also had the Cuban jumpers in Leyanis, Pérez, Hernández and Liadagmis, Povea. They were in contention on the circuit all throughout the year. And then others like Marina Beck-Romanchuk, Anna Peleteiro-Compaoré, as well as Akila Smith very much were in the conversation throughout the entire year. But flipping over to the men's triple jump, that's also remained just as competitive, with the Olympic champion Jaydon Díaz Fortún jumping 18.18 meters, the third farthest mark in history. But that came after trading places with Pedro Pichardo, who had jumped a mark of 18.04 meters last year as well, before he went on to win the Olympic silver behind Jordan. You also had Andy Diaz-Hernández, Fabrice, Zango, and of course Jaydon Hibbert from Jamaica, all very much in the conversation and jumping marks of 17.5 meters or better. Now, looking forward to 2025, all these names on both the men's and the women's side, and even more, are right back in contention this year to challenge for spots on the podium at the World Championships in Tokyo this September. So let's quickly take a look at some of these athletes who I just named, as well as some of the other names both on the men's and the women's side in the triple jump, to just get a feel of what we should expect throughout the entire year. First, on the women's side, Thea Lafond is the defending Olympic champion, having jumped 15.02 meters in Paris, which secured the first ever gold medal for her country of Dominica. And after the Olympics, she actually shut down her season and underwent surgery for a lingering injury. But she returned in 2025, making her debut this year at the World Indoor Championships, where she eventually finished in 4th place with a best of 14.18 meters. This clearly showed that despite taking time off and having surgery, she was more than capable of not only remaining in the mix, but challenging for a gold medal once again later on this summer. Well, speaking of World Indoors, Leyanis Pérez Hernández from Cuba, she won the gold medal at this year's World Indoor Championships. This was her first ever gold medal in the event, indoors or out, after finishing 5th place at the Olympics last year, 2nd place at the 2024 World Indoor Champs, and 3rd place at the 2023 World Championships. Now, Leyanis was arguably the most consistent triple jumper in the 2024 season, at least on the circuit, having won 5 of the 6 competitions outside of the Olympic Games, including the Diamond League final in Brussels. She also has a personal best of 14.98 meters and has jumped 14.9 on multiple occasions, so is very much on the cusp of breaking that 15-meter barrier. Now, considering Leyanis has already won the World Indoor Gold, I can see her carrying that momentum through the outdoor season and back onto the podium once again in Tokyo. Also at this year's World Indoors, Liadagmis Povea from Cuba, as well as Anna Peleteiro-Compaoré from Spain, finished 2nd and 3rd place respectively on the podium, and probably are 2 of the more experienced triple jumpers, but still in very great form. Anna, first off, she won the bronze medal at the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games and is a 3-time World Indoor bronze medalist dating all the way back to 2018. So she's always been one of the main players in the event. Povea, she was 5th at the 2021 Olympics, but 4th place in Paris last year. Her silver at World Indoors this year was the first world or Olympic medal of her entire career. And though she has been in the shadow of Leyanis in recent years, she is also not to be slept on. Now, circling back to the Paris Olympics, it's obviously impossible to ignore Shanieka Ricketts, who has also been on the circuit for some years now, but seems to be hitting a stride that feels like she's low-key just getting started. Her silver in Paris last year was her first ever Olympic medal and the first ever triple jump medal for a Jamaican woman in history. But this simply added to her already illustrious medal haul of silver in 2019 and 2022. In 2023, she broke into the 15-meter barrier for the first time, surpassing the mark on 2 occasions that year, ending with a best of 15.03 meters. Now, she's already kicked off her 2025 season with a few wins down in Jamaica and up at the Penn Relays. And though Shanieka is generally quiet, I would not be surprised if she actually was able to win a title in Tokyo. Now, Shanieka was followed by Jasmine Moore, who, though was not consistent that much on the circuit, she timed her season to absolute perfection, getting a bronze medal in the triple jump, but also a bronze medal in the long jump, becoming just the second woman in history to actually achieve the feat of medaling at both jumps at the same Olympic Games. Only Russia's Tatiana Lebedeva had done it way back in 2004 with her gold in the long jump and silver in the triple jump. But Jasmine is a true gamer and has balanced both events pretty well, where she can put down really strong marks across the board no matter which event is first, right? Either long or the triple. Now, the USA triple jump scene, it unfortunately isn't in the best place right now, with both Couture Orji and Tori Franklin having retired after the 2024 season. But Jasmine is still young and just getting started when it comes to her professional career in the jumps. Now, as I noted earlier, Yulimar Rojas from Venezuela, she's been sitting out since September of 2023 as she had an Achilles injury that sidelined her for the entire Olympic year. But she did return to the runway once again in 2025 with a long jump competition in early March. But she unfortunately fouled all of her attempts, and I think she had 4 jumps, and she didn't record a mark. But it's kind of understood that she is ready to make a full return in 2025, and by way of being the defending world champion from Budapest 2023, Yulimar has nothing to worry about until we get to September later on this year. So considering that she's the 2020 Olympic champion, the 4-time world champion, and 3-time world indoor champion, the world record holder, it's almost certainly that she's going to be a force when she returns to the runway. And even though the triple jump is very demanding on the body, Yulimar is still only 29 years old, so she has some years to continue getting better. Honestly, I think a successful comeback for Rojas would be to see her, I don't know, mix it up on the circuit once again with some of these best women in the world, potentially make it to the World Championship final in Tokyo. And if she were to get a medal, let alone even win the gold medal this year, in my opinion, that would be pure icing on the cake, just considering what she's gone through over the past year. Now, a few other names to keep in the conversation on the women's triple jump side. Marina Beck-Romanchuk, 2023 World Championship silver medalist and 2022 World Indoor silver medalist. She actually switched over from the long jump after the 2021 season, and along with those medals, she has a personal best of 15.02 meters, which makes her one of the best in the world. You also have Akila Smith from Jamaica, who holds a similar spot as Jasmine Moore, being a double threat in both the long and the triple jump. She made the final at the Olympic Games in both events and was also the NCAA champion in both events last year as well. Her 7th place finish at the Paris Olympics clearly shows that she is capable of competing with the best, and she's just getting started with her jumping career. France's Leyanis Guillaume won Euro bronze last year and made it to the Paris Olympic final and holds a best of 14.59 meters, so very much is in the conversation. Ruda Lasmani of Latvia was the 2024 NCAA indoor champion and competed in the qualification rounds at the Paris Olympics last year. But she did suffer an Achilles injury and unfortunately had to undergo surgery this year, which sidelined her a bit in 2025, though she could very likely be a threat once she gets healthy. Along with that, you have Diana Maria Ion, you have Charisma Taylor, you have Tugba Danismaz, you have Sally Sarr, and a ton of other women who are in the mix for the triple jump right now. But that's on the women's side. Looking over to the men's side, I think there's just as much talent and competition to keep an eye out for, both experienced veterans and rising talent. Now, the reigning Olympic champion, Jordan Díaz Fortún, representing Spain, he had easily the greatest season of his career last year, not only winning the Olympic gold, but also winning European outdoor gold, jumping 18.18 meters, making him the 3rd farthest jumper in history, only behind Jonathan Edwards and Christian Taylor. He also put down marks of 17.96 meters, 17.86, 17.85, and a plethora of other 17-meter marks. He also went undefeated all throughout 2024, and though he has yet to open up this year, it's likely that Jordan may pick up right where he left off. Now, that's not to say that he'll be jumping 18 meters right off the bat, right? That track in Rome at the Euros, that was kind of bouncy, but Jordan has proven to not be a fluke in any capacity, and he is very consistent when it comes to competing against the best around the world. And he's also only 24 years old, and he's likely just getting better. Now, in Paris, Jordan took down the former Olympic champion Pedro Pichardo, who represents Portugal. He's basically the veteran of the group, having won silver medals back in 2013 and 2015 while competing for Cuba. But despite his age, Pichardo is literally showing no signs of letting up after having not only won the Olympic silver, but also jumping 18.04 meters at Euros last year as well. And a second best mark of 17.84 meters in Paris also backs up his proven ability to jump far when it matters the most. And that's nothing to say sight of his personal best of 18.06 from back in 2015. Listen, Pedro has probably been one of the more consistent athletes when it comes to the triple jump circuit, having won the Diamond League final last year and already kicking off 2025 with a win at the Diamond League against a pretty high quality field. Now, again, though he is a veteran of the game, it's hard for me to count him out in any capacity, considering his ability to compete against the best and perform when it counts the most. Now, bronze medalist in Pérez last year is arguably the top guy in 2025 so far, and Andy Díaz Hernández from Italy, he has been showing some great signs of progression over the past couple years. That Olympic bronze medal was kind of a precursor to the gold medal that he won this year at the World Indoor Championships in China. Not only that, he actually set a personal best of 17.80 meters, proving that he is getting better and better, and likely was not satisfied with that bronze medal at the Olympics. Just like Pedro, Andy is relatively consistent on the circuit, having won the 2023 Diamond League title, and like both Pedro and Jordan, Andy also recently transferred his allegiance and representation from Cuba, and of course he's now representing Italy. Andy is almost a wild card in that he has so much untapped potential, at least in my opinion right now, and I think that he could break out into the 18-meter range and kind of completely surprise the field. Again, this event is extremely competitive though, so 18 meters may not even take a gold medal later on this summer if things actually line up. But let's shift over to the young kid in Jaydon Hibbert, one of Jamaica's rising talents, having jumped multiple World U20 records over the past couple years, including his best of 17.87 meters from back in 2023. And he's backed that up with a mark of 17.75 meters last year down in Jamaica before going on to finish 4th place at the Olympic Games in Paris. And fun fact, Jaydon Hibbert was actually jumping injured in Paris, not even in full form to compete to the best of his ability. So the fact that he finished 4th place in the final, just 3 centimeters off that podium, that means that Jaydon is obviously extremely special if you didn't know it, but that means that he has so much untapped potential when he is fully healthy. So yes, injuries took him out of, competing for a medal at the Paris Olympics. It also took him out of the 2023 World Championship final. But what I really like about Jaydon is that he just doesn't compete very frequently. So he's clearly managing his body well for the most part in an effort to have a long and successful career in what obviously is a very tough and very many times strenuous event. If Jaydon is healthy, he is undoubtedly going to be a problem for every other athlete in the triple jump. But let's move over to one of the more experienced guys in Fabrice Zango, who's actually the defending world champion in the triple jump, having won gold in Budapest 2023, which was the first ever gold medal for his country of Burkina Faso. This came off a silver medal in 2022 and a bronze medal in 2019, as well as an Olympic bronze in 2020. Indoors, Hugues holds the world record at 18.07 meters from back in 2021, and he was also a world indoor champion last year in 2024. But he's now 31 years old, and he actually said that 2025 will be his final season of competition, and he'll be hanging up his triple jump spikes at the end of the year. But despite that, he is still giving it his all and is looking to defend his world title in Tokyo later this summer. Now, with all the guys that I noted above, it's obviously going to be tough for him to make that defense, but it's impossible to actually count him out when it comes to challenging for a podium spot. He literally just got the bronze medal at the World Indoors this year, so it's going to be very hard to actually keep him off that medal stand in Tokyo later this summer. Now, a few other guys to shout out include the Chinese jumpers of Zhu Yaming, who won the World Indoor Silver this year behind Andy Díaz, as well as Su Wen, who finished 5th place at the World Indoors as well. You also have Jordan Scott from Jamaica, who has kind of been on the scene for a couple years, but is now just really getting into the conversation, where he just missed a spot on the podium at World Indoors, finishing 4th place, though he already did start his 2025 season jumping a personal best of 17.27 meters to actually win the Xiamen Diamond League at the top of April this year. But on the US side of things, you have Salif Mane, who won the Olympic trials last year and finished 6th place at the Olympic final in Paris, while you have Russell Robinson. He was also at the Olympic Games, only made it into the qualifying rounds in Paris, but he recently finished 8th place at the World Indoor Championships this year. Now, Salif Mane, he has a personal best of 17.53 meters, while Russell, he recently jumped a personal best of 17.3 meters in late April this year. Add to that, you have the veteran in Donald Scott, who is always in the conversation to make a world or Olympic team. So we'll see how the US does. Now, from Germany, Max Hess. He has been on the scene for kind of a while now, right? Dating all the way back to what his personal best was set in 2017, 17.52 meters. He won the silver medal at the 2016 World Indoor Champs, but he is consistently always in the mix. He just finished 7th place at the Olympic Games last year, so you can never count him out. India, they've also been making waves in the jumps, both the long and the triple jump in recent years. And you have guys like Praveen as well as Abdullah who have surpassed 17 meters a couple times in their careers. Add to that, you have guys like Lazaro Martinez, you have Yasser Tricky, you have Connor Murphy, and a ton of other names that I'm of course overlooking in the mix for the triple jump this year in 2025. So the men's triple jump is in a very good space. Now, it's of course extremely tough, even for myself, to kind of parse through the focus on the sprints, the hurdles, the distance races, and all that, right? Even the throws with Ryan Krauser starting up his league. But the triple jump is always one of the more competitive events to always keep an eye out for. Of course, in my opinion, right? This by no means, though, was an exhaustive list of every single person who's going to be making some noise in 2025. But these are just some of the top athletes to keep an eye out for as the season progresses and as we get closer to the 2025 World Championships in Tokyo later on this summer. But let me know what you think about the triple jump, both on the men's and the women's side. And if you made it to the end of this video, go in the comments below and I want you to post a topic request on anything that you're thinking about. The sprints, the jumps, the hurdles, a nation, a competition, or a head-to-head, right? Anything that you're thinking of. And I'll actually try and make a video based on that request just for your support for making it all the way to the end of this video. But as always, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Always appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching.